Riddle me this, our Talk Punch. It's the Talk Punch podcast. I am Brody. I am fresh off of shoulder surgery, torn rotator cuff surgery, and I'm highly medicated. And I am joined by Hugo Strange, Tudong Dylan.
Hey,
and the Charlie that didn't get the Batman villain memo, but probably has the best costume nonetheless.
I got in a fight with Batman. I told him his costume was ridiculous.
There you go.
And he punched me with one of his reinforced gloves, and
it just
it did not work out well for me.
Opened up your whole face. Ooh, it is
whole face.
It is gruesome.
Yeah, I thought about being Two-Face, but instead I'm just open whole face. I'm a new villain.
It could be a little Two-Face-ish.
Yeah,
could be.
All right. Well,
kill the rest of this off.
Oh, gross. Well, like I said, it's Talk Punch. Thank you so much to both our audio podcast listeners and our YouTube viewers for joining us. I am Brody. And if you haven't already, we would love it if you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you can come back here every Wednesday and have some fun. Also, check out our Patreon in the description below where you can help support the things that we're doing because we're having fun, providing content, and yeah, it's fun. So it's Halloween, obviously. If you've been following us through the month of October, we've been Halloween focused, scary movie focused. And if you were here last week, you watched us watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which was an experience. And so we thought, hey, so we've watched this movie. Let's just chat a little bit about this twisted childhood universe that this company now is going on. Charlie, you want to tell us a little bit about this twisted childhood universe?
Well, bro, it does kind of speak for itself. It is the era of public domain, beloved characters kind of hitting that public domain, and so we have some entrepreneurial forward thinkers who have been kind of planning these projects for a little while, and now we're just kind of seeing them roll out. A lot of like the Poohverse or the Twisted Child universe. I guess the Poohverse is the movie that's coming, the third one. Are going to center more around the Disney side of things. So you get like like an evil Peter Pan movie, and some of these other beloved Disney characters kind of turning evil. But there's other companies like the Mickey Mouse one, and you'll see some other ones popping up more and more. But yeah, for the Twisted Child universe, it's just taking things that you loved as a kid and trying to make them scare you.
So weird, right? I think that it was Blood and Honey that they announced it or showed a trailer or an image like the day that Winnie the Pooh went into the public domain. I don't know. And so they're doing Winnie the Pooh. It's Reese.
They're doing Pinocchio.
Freaky Waterfield is kind of the brains behind all this stuff. So we've got Winnie the Pooh. We've got Peter Pan, which is coming out next year. There's a trailer for that. You can go watch the trailer for Peter Pan. They have Bambi the Reckoning coming out next year, 2025. Pinocchio Unstrung coming out in 2025.
That's gonna be
Pooniverse Monsters Assembled in 2025. So they are cranking these things out. We have 4 movies, and that's just 2025. They've got stuff. We've got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 3 for 2026. A Sleeping Beauty movie, that's TBA. A Snow White movie, that's TBA.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys' thoughts about them taking this stuff and just like cranking out these slasher movies? Tudong?
I'll be honest. I think that, like entrepreneurship and like taking like initiative and all that kind of thing is great and fantastic. There's a lot of different things that I have heard when it comes to movies. Some that I've been like, hey, this is a no-brainer, totally gonna work, beautiful, and it just doesn't. I have seen things that I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna be made to work, and it turns out it works out perfectly. I have respect if a person, decides not just to have like a great idea, a financial idea. There's got to be a bit of art into it. I mean, watching that movie, it didn't seem like I was really watching people make actual people like decisions. It didn't seem interesting. It didn't seem engaging, and it really didn't seem like they cared. So I don't like it only because it's just kind of like, hey, we're just going to take this concept. We don't have to pay for it anymore. And now we're just going to do it. We're taking initiative, but we're not doing anything actually artistically relevant or even with any artistic standards at all. So no, I mean,
it was bad.
It was terrible. The worst thing a movie can be, there's a couple of things that a movie can be that's just bad. And one is if it's insulting, and one if it's just boring. And even worse, if it's insultingly boring. And that is what that was. I honestly don't really remember any of it. Because it just does not, it has no place in my head. It's not like I tried. It was so boring. Hanging out with you guys was great. Talking about it, that was fun. But I mean, I couldn't tell you one thing except for stupid Christopher Robin. He did die in it, right? Christopher Robin died, right? They didn't keep him alive. He was dead.
He carried him away. He's alive.
Yeah, Christopher Robin lives.
It was so irritating. He was so, please, Pooh, oh no. It was boring and it was stupid and it was ridiculous. And I don't see any of the others being any different. Now, I have a lot of respect for, like I said, for financial initiative, and they're taking it, but put a little bit of art into it. Put like some kind of thing that shows us that you care, because I didn't see it. I didn't care. And unless we're watching it for one of these things, I probably won't see any more of these things.
Oh, well, we got to watch the second one.
We'll have to watch them all now. Just,
Right.
Well,
that's the only way I would.
Charlie, what are your thoughts on just like this idea?
Yeah.
I think the idea is solid in the sense that you're taking something that was like a sacred childhood memory and then twisting it to kind of like attract the audience that experienced it as a child to kind of come back and now to kind of be scared by it. But I will admit, I was like I knew it was going to be bad. I was ready for it to be bad. I just didn't expect it to be so joyless. And I know maybe that's a weird way to describe like a horror movie, but like you just made a horror movie about Winnie the Pooh. Like if I was pitching that in a meeting, if I was saying, all right, look, Winnie the Pooh is coming to public domain. Yeah. We're going to make a horror movie, and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are going to be like homicidal maniacs. And you'd be laughing. You'd be thinking, oh wow, that's hilarious. Yeah. I'm like, no, don't you laugh. We are going to take our movie very, very seriously. There will be no smiling in it. Winnie the Pooh will say like nothing, and then every now and then gutturally growl and say a word. We're gonna make the humans unlikable. We're gonna have like no humor, no nothing that lightens the mood. No tongue in cheek, no wink wink. Winnie the Pooh didn't even kill anybody and say oh bother. There was no. He's got like he's sweating honey, but he's not like eating honey, like the husk of rabbit in the corner while he's eating honey. He didn't get stuck, like he's chasing people. He never gets stuck in a hole. Like they could have done so many like little things to like wink wink at like the Winnie the Pooh animated films and television shows without like directly infringing on any Disney copyrights. Sure. I was surprised. I was surprised there weren't more jokes. I feel like like they could have really, instead of following the Friday the 13th model, where you just have this kind of like lumbering, psychotic, mute, personality-less killer, and really going a little bit more like Nightmare on Elm Street style, where you have kind of more like a little more humor, and like everyone's gonna die, but you're kind of there to see the how. And make it a little bit more interesting and make it a little bit more compelling that way. So I was ready for it to be bad and still disappointed.
It's a really good way to explain it. Yeah, it was just bad.
It-
just
even
bad.
even if you take out Winnie the Pooh, it was still not even a good movie. Like you have the girl and she's in a pool, and like was a Piglet runs after her, and she's like, "I'm gonna run away." She doesn't think I'm gonna just jump out the side. She's like, "I'm just gonna run." It wasn't even intelligent as a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody was stupid and everybody was irritating. So
No,
not looking forward to it.
I will say that the one that we watched, has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. The second one has a 46%.
Why?
Because it's clearly better.
Clearly better.
No. It's not better. You mean like the audience score is 46. So you're saying that the audience thinks that it's better. You're just saying the audience is stupid. You're doing exactly the same thing that the movie did. And it's like, hey, you're watching this and you just wasted your money. P.S. You're an idiot. I don't like it when movies do that to me. I don't like it when they're like, you're stupid for spending money and time on this.
Now, I will say that maybe there's a chance that they learned from the mistakes of the first one and thought they got a bigger budget and got their feet wet and they're like, hey, all right, let's make the second one better. I think the chances of that are very small, but I cannot wait to make Dylan watch it so that we can find out together.
That's true. I will, as we watched it, I'm glad I didn't watch it by myself.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been a very sad experience had I watched it by myself. I think watching it with you guys, while the movie was not good, I enjoyed watching it with you guys because we were able to laugh at how bad it was and how poor the decisions were.
Yeah.
So,
and the execution was,
and like there's the second one and I'm like, I don't want to see it, but for one of our watch alongs where we can just, the three of us could just sit and watch it and make fun of it. It actually sounds much more appealing to me.
That does. That's true. For that, I would watch it so we could tear it apart. That's fine. I don't want to watch a movie just to tear it apart, but with this, I'm looking forward to it. It's like a Zack Snyder movie. Hey.
Now, as far as so that's the Winnie the Pooh. I did watch the trailer for Peter Pan.
And
Peter Pan, I don't think I even want to watch it at all.
Why?
It's about Peter Pan, who is a child abductor, and he has Tinkerbell, who is like a heavily obese drug addict, and they're all hooked on heroin and convinced that it's pixie dust, and they're at like a circus and he's like kidnapping kids. And I'm like,
I don't like that.
Somehow that sounds even worse. Like Charlie was talking about taking the joy out of it. Now it's just like openly like, now we're going to involve little kids. At least Pooh Bear was killing dumb young adults.
Very dumb.
Yeah,
good.
Good. Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, the Peter Pan one looks very unenjoyable. I feel like if you're gonna follow this roadmap, you shouldn't be able to just replace the villain with any villain and just tell the story the same way. Yeah. Like there has to be some magic to it. Like if you took out Pooh Bear in this movie and just replaced it with Fred, who just didn't like that people were coming into his area, then then you have like The Hills Have Eyes or whatever. Like you have any number of like people go to the wrong area and are now dead movies, and like you could absolutely just replace him with anybody. Yeah. And with the same with the Peter Pan, like I hope at least for the Bambi one, guys, is it just going to be a rabid deer that's killing people? Like it is. Like, is there going to be at any point will there be some movie that steps up with like something that's like, okay, this can only be done in the magic of the universe that's set within this character's fairy tale? Because otherwise, it's like I don't know. I think people there'll be fatigue on these. Even the people that are kind of like going to see them as like a lark, a LARP, lark. I guess it could be LARPers, if you want to dress up like Pooh Bear and go to the theater.
Yeah. So Bambi is. It says the plot follows a woman named Xana and her son Benji, who must fight to survive when they find themselves as prey to a mutated, grieving, killing machine of a deer following a car wreck.
Jeez.
So, I don't know, guys. And then and that's not even counting like this Monsters United thing where they're going to bring all these things together. It just doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound
How are they even going to do that? Like, how are they going to have Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, Peter Pan with an obese, heroin-addicted Tinkerbell. I used to love Tinkerbell so much. How exactly are they supposed to? They all seem like mindless killing machines. Why aren't they just killing each other in that case?
I don't know. There's got to be a story reason. Or not. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was like, wow. Okay, yeah, Winnie the Pooh grew himself some brains and was like, I'm going to tame this deer and this child abductor with the obese heroin addict. See, like, and we're going to do some damage.
If it were fun, then they could be like doing like plot lines straight from Marvel. Just like have like a civil war. They could have like a Pooh Bear and Piglet on opposite sides of like the, you know, some rift. And Pooh's like, I want to kill more people, bother. And Piglet's like, I want to clean a house. And then, you know, they could be mad, and Bambi's like, my mother, and you know, they're all weirdly British, and it could be fun. I'd watch that, like a little, almost like a like a scary movie, like just enough of that kind of funny vibe in there.
The funny thing is you just have given more creativity and more intelligence than any of these scripts have had at all. Just with that one thing right there.
And they very well may be British, because this guy, Reese, is from Essex. So maybe they are all British.
Yeah, that's probably.
I can't even remember if the people in Pooh were British or not. Were they just American? Or were they
Christopher Robin was.
Was he?
Christopher Robin was British. And I was just like, are you kidding me?
He sat there watching his fiance being brutally murdered and just kept extending his hand nowhere near the murder and just saying, please, Pooh, stop, please, please, Pooh.
It was Piglet.
Oh, please, Piglet. Oh, I'm right here, but I can't get there in time. I'm 3 steps away. Please stop, Piglet.
Yeah, Piglet had the chain around her and was choking her to death, and he just stood there and watched.
Like what if one of the kids was eating a ham sandwich? You know, like they're eating some pork ribs. They got the grill going in the back, and they're cooking. Oh man, wait till you taste my pulled pork. And then Piglet pops his head out and is like,
see, that's good. That would be fantastic. And once again, in just the 2-3 seconds that you just thought about this, you put more thought and effort into it than any of these. Like I said, hey, the initiative is fine, but put a little bit of creativity, thought into it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there's so many good horror movies out there. Yeah, you know, watch this, but don't, you know, otherwise don't watch it. You know, or watch it with, you know, if you have a big group of friends, and every time one of you rolls an eye, you take a shot. I mean, you get really wasted, but it's gonna be
that'd be rough.
Or you can look. This is a fun game. The 3 of us need to start playing. I've been trying to get the boys on board with this. We put on a movie as bad as possible, and whoever taps out first has to take a shot or eat a spicy food or something.
Taps out? You mean the
tap out game?
They get to stop watching it?
We put on Catwoman and just, you know, and we just, whoever gives up first gets, you know, they have to take a shot, but then they don't have to watch any more of the movie.
What happens when maybe out? Episode done?
Yeah. Then we put
on the I thought maybe we stop right after the first person stops, because
once one person taps out, it's over.
It's gonna be Broad. Oh, Broad.
It's true.
Charlie and I are gonna be like, we're not gonna give up. We're not gonna give up, and you'll be like, Charlie.
Brody would be tapping out of the good ones. That's the problem. He might hang in the bad ones, but like if we put on The Conjuring, and he's like, all right, I'm tapping. Tap.
Title.
Conjuring's so good, bro. You gotta watch it.
It looks scary. Okay, well, yeah. So, Twisted Childhood Universe. It's and we've only seen the first one, but so far, man, not good. Not good.
It is
But
rough.
they keep making them, and the first one, cost $100,000 and it made $5 million. The next one cost like 500,000 and made like 7.6 million. So, like they're making a profit, which is probably why they keep making these. But I don't know.
If they seemed, like I said, if they put any effort into it, there's people who put lots of effort into their things and nobody sees it. It's really screwed up when you have something this stupid and they're just like, well, we have this and we're taking like I said, the initiative, but we're not going to put thought to anything else. We don't need to think about anything else. What are you talking about character and script? What?
Yeah.
So no respect. Ridiculous.
All right. Well, I think we've spent enough time talking about this TCU. Let's move
get it out of here
to what we are watching. Just something we like to do on our monthly podcast, just talking about things we've been watching because that's fun and we like to talk about that. And we're watching stuff. Tudong, what are you watching lately?
I have been watching season 2 of Tulsa King. You guys watch that at Paramount Plus? Been watching the new season of Frasier, season 2 of Frasier, season 2 of Tulsa King. Really fun stuff. I look forward to it each and every time. I am very happy with those two at the moment. On YouTube, I have actually been watching Back to the Sofa and also Jim and I think it's Jim and Them or Jim and Friends, something like that. I think it's Jim and Them. Both of which it's really funny. They're really not fans of Corey Feldman. Have you guys ever seen any of those, especially Jim and Them? They're not fans of his.
I've never even heard of it.
I was a fan, and I was like, "What's everybody's problem? Come on, it's Corey or Feldman. What's wrong?" No, I have learned a lot of different things about old Feld Dog, and yikes. One thing I've got to say is we got to start watching things like Lost Boys, huh? Come on. Yeah, that's something we should definitely.
You just said how terrible Feldman was, and now we got to watch Lost Boys.
The earlier ones, it doesn't count. He hasn't turned bad then.
We'll do like a
look.
retro
I'm not trying.
review.
I'm not trying to be glib, and I'm certainly not trying to be dismissive here. Can I ask a sincere question, though, Dylan?
Yes.
Is Corey Feldman still relevant enough to have a strong opinion on in 2024? Is that
it's shocking. It's shocking how nobody cares. And these things even say that. Like, okay, Back to the Sofa, they're like, hey, we're fans. We're going to watch like Lost Boys. We're going to watch like the two Corys, Dream a Little Dream. But then as it goes on, they're like
Dream a Little Dream. Underrated.
Yeah. But then they get into things like Dream a Little Dream 2 and they're like, wait a minute. And then they get into things like The Surreal Life and they're like, oh geez. And that's how I started seeing like Jim and Them, and they were just like talking a bunch of smack about Corey Feldman. They are talking, apparently he's touring or something. I don't know. I was just like,
touring what?
Why? I was like, why would he be doing this? But then I see some things where it's like, oh, it's like he has this whole thing where he's like, hey, I'm gonna train these girls in my house, in my mansion, and they're angels. They're whatever. Like he's trying to be like a Hugh Hefner, and I'm just like, dude, what happened to you, man? I remember back with Dream a Little Dream. I remember back with Lost Boys, but now, like, dude. I don't know what's going on with old Feld Dog. Now you can't even get one of his Funko Pops signed and sent back to you. People aren't even getting their things sent back. I'm like, because I was like, what? He has that? I get it signed. And I'm like, he's not going to sign it? He's not going to send it? Well, never mind.
Jeez.
But when it comes to legitimate things, Frasier, season 2 and Tulsa King, Stallone, season 2. Have either of you guys seen Tulsa King?
I haven't watched any of it. No.
I watched season 1. I think you and I talked briefly, Dylan, about how the ending was just so rushed that it was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's kind of corrected itself in season 2?
Yeah. I do. They keep kind of going through it. They keep going, and it's a fun thing. Ah, come on, Stallone. You can't go wrong with Stallone.
Hey, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
What about the Stallone reality show with him and his daughters? You watching that?
Now that I have not seen. Hopefully, it's not anything like the Corey Feldman ones, because yikes, just yikes. And if you watch some of his, like, you can go on to YouTube and see him performing, and it is, the word cringy is doesn't do it justice.
So you
Each
just been
time,
watching
it's so
TV?
funny.
You haven't watched any movies lately, Tudong? Apparently not.
I guess Charlie has been rubbing off on me. I've been watching more television.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's so funny that you say that, because I've just been like watching movies this month.
Have you really?
It's like, what?
So like just like maybe an out of body switcheroo experience. We're having our own little like father like son, or vice versa.
Yes.
Kind of
little dream.
So I've been watching a lot of horror movies, and I've been so excited. Like there's been a series of horror movies that I've just been like waiting for them to come to streaming. And so finally, like Happy Death Day to You, or Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, finally are on Peacock.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. The Final Girls is like really, really good.
Is that a movie? I thought that was a TV show.
It is a movie. And now I want to be clear, because even if you go on Peacock and you type in Final Girls, there is The Final Girl or something like that with like what's her name? Chloe Grace Moretz or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But the Final Girls is the one you want, with like Tessa Farmiga. Malin Ackerman. Think Malin Ackerman.
Oh, okay.
Is the one that you want. And it's got Thomas Middleditch, Adam Devine. But anyway, these are like, if you're in the mood for something like horror, but you're not a big fan of scary movies, or you like scary movies and you like seeing kind of like them kind of flipped a little bit on their head, like some of the like tropes and things played out a little bit tongue in cheek, playfully. I think both of these are really good. Final Girl is surprisingly emotional in places. It's kind of like the person who wrote it kind of loosely based on his own, obviously not his own experiences, because they get sucked into a movie. But like his father died when he was younger, and his father was in The Exorcist. And so the idea of having someone you love who's passed away, but like is kind of like immortalized in a horror film. So it's not a spoiler really, because the whole thing kind of happens in the beginning, but they get sucked into the main character's mother's famous horror movie, and she's passed away, and so it's kind of like this a lot of like fun playfulness with like a slasher films and stuff like this, and you get to kind of like, but also have like some of the emotional weight of like a mother kind of coming dealing, or a daughter dealing with the grief of losing her mother, and so like there's like some depth and soul to it. My wife does not like horror movies. I watched these with her. She loved them. So these are like, PG-13. They're not very gory. You're not going to see someone's face look like mine. You're going to kind of get a chance to see some good humor, and also some puns. The Happy Death Days are like Groundhog Day meets Scream. So you get like the time loop stuff with like the slasher stuff, but it feels, because of the time loop factor. I will say and I don't want to spoil it, I thought that they came up with like a clever way to make the time loop feel time sensitive, and I don't know how else to say it like that. I thought it was clever how they did it. It's not just it's not it feels like a normal time loop, but it's not a normal time loop.
Have you seen the second one? Because that's really not normal time loop.
Yeah. It's good. I like we talked about Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I watched Cabin in the Woods. I showed my wife Cabin in the Woods. I think it's fun. These are not for everyone, because some people are purists, and some people, everyone's obviously entitled to like their own things. But I think it's kind of fun when you've watched enough horror movies to then see people trying to do something different within the genre, and especially like playfully within the genre while still taking the material seriously. So giving like Shaun of the Dead, I thought just did such a great job of that. Where, like you see a lot of comedic zombie movies that have like no respect for zombie movies. And then what like really made that one of my favorite all time horror movies was the way that they kind of show, pay respect to the zombies. They take it very seriously, and then they're just still able to find a lot of humor within that. It's great. So those were all good. My wife saw her first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I had to watch. She walked into me watching 3 and was like, "Wait, what's this?" And I was like, "All right, this is Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I can turn it off." She's like, "This is old. I'm not scared." And she sat down and kind of watched it. It's like, all right. She wasn't intimidated by the claymation Freddy, or so we got to kind of watch that. That was fun. But a lot of good. I watched The Conjuring 2 finally. I hadn't gotten a chance to see that yet.
Nice.
Conjuring movies are good, and the Conjuring universe is huge. I watched Abigail.
How was that?
Yes. It was
people.
fine.
I mean, I don't.
It was fine. It was fine.
Catherine Newton, her eyes are dead, and as far as I'm concerned, so is her acting.
Catherine Newton. Is she the little girl?
She was the no. She was the daughter in Ant-Man 3. She was the tech girl in Abigail. The tech girl.
She was good in this.
I didn't know if we.
She was good in this. Did you see it? Did you see it?
I've seen parts of it.
You haven't.
And then
seen
I'm
it.
like, I don't want to.
She was fine in this. She plays a role that suits her acting.
I didn't know that we were doing the older ones. On Paramount Plus, like from Friday the 13th 1 through 8 came on there. I watched all of them. Yeah, and I watched them all.
Brody, do we have time? Can we talk a little Friday the 13th?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's our podcast. Sure.
I think I watched one because it'd been so long since I've seen it. And I knew the twist, obviously.
Yeah.
I forgot that she never even wears the mask. Like, we don't even see it. And then how jarring and random it is to go from that to the second movie, how completely bizarre.
Totally.
I thought it was really sad reading that the main actress who survives the first one quit the franchise because there was someone stalking her. And she just couldn't handle it, and just poor thing.
The guy pulled a gun on her.
It's a horrible story, and so they killed off. They were going to have her be almost like Nev Campbell from Scream. She was going to be in all these Friday the 13th movies and fighting Jason off, and instead they had to kill her off in the next one because she I obviously just didn't want anything to do with it. Who could blame her? It's a horrible situation. Dylan, do you like the Friday the 13th movies?
They are not something that I generally go back and watch. No. Some of them I do like. I love part 6. But I don't know if part 6, I might like that better than some of the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Those are just not exactly my thing. It's really a lot of Jason's coming by, he sees somebody, he kills them, and he keeps going. And he's supposed to be, I don't know exactly what's happening. Some people have said, the first 4 take place in the same week or something like that. And some people are there's a 5-year difference. There's all sorts of different things, and they cannot, all sorts of continuities. And they're I don't really care if we get it right. But when part 6 happened and it became Zombie Jason, then I was like, yes, now it makes sense that he's not getting killed. That they stab him in the face, and finally he slides down. Corey Feldman kills Jason for real, finally, and then of course his same character brings him right back to life because he's like, hey, I got to make sure he's dead by bringing him back to life.
Don't they dig him up and then just start beating up his corpse, and then lightning just happens to strike and...
He stabs him. He stabs him, and then he's with a metal thing post that he ripped right off. The guy Tommy Jarvis ripped right off of the gate, and he sticks it in him, and he's gonna burn him. And I'm like, he was dead, dude. But I don't care. I was glad when he made him Zombie Jason and he brought him back. I thought that was fantastic, and ever since I was like, yes. It reinvigorated the franchise, and it gave me something that I was a lot more interested in. I never really revisit them, but
now what about the reboot?
I thought it was interesting. I think that the reboot for Friday the 13th sadly is so much better than the reboot for Nightmare on Elm Street. What were they doing when they did Nightmare on Elm Street? They did this a good greatest hits thing. and they got on there. They got like not Dean, but they got Sam Winchester, from Supernatural. All of these different things, and you got a Jason that's running. He's smart. He's not like you just lumbering around. And I thought it was good. I mean, it was fine. Like that one kid. That one kid is so irritating. That one kid who was like playing the rich snob. I was just like, that kid. Would you kill him first, please? And they just didn't. But but yeah,
that one got kind of like a weird rap for
and
not that it was great or anything, but like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know like what purity people would be hanging on to from the original franchise, which it's like not great.
Yeah.
At least they kind of try to explain it. Like they gave him a tunnel system that that's how he's always showing up random places. He's got a system of intricate tunnels underground.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but I don't know. The franchise is hard. It's hard to watch, especially in a row. So look, I used to play this game called MLB The Show, and when I was younger, I just loved baseball, and so every year I just bought the game. It just didn't matter. It didn't matter if they made improvements. It didn't matter whatever. It was a new roster. It was a new year. I was excited about baseball, and I just bought it. And then as I got older, it was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna let it come out, and I want to see what other people say about it. And I'm not going to buy it if it's just a roster update. And the game kept like not improving, and there was like a big lulls. And then every now and then, every few years, there'd be something that was a little bit innovative, and then it would kind of go back. And I feel like, there's that, like, I missed, obviously, we were all too young to be watching these Friday the 13th when they came out. But I think there's like a real like lack of like growth in the movies. And that's really jarring when you go back and try to watch them in succession of one to the next, like watching the first one and then watching the second one. And I was like, I knew that you were watching them, Dill. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get through these. And I watched the first one. I was like, God, that was not good. That was not good. And so I put the second one on. I'm like, man, and it's and there's a weird disconnect from like the teens also, like the teens in the movies, just running around. And I tried to watch Carrie. Have you guys watched Carrie recently?
I can't do that. I just can't. I can't watch Carrie.
I was like, I knew Brian De Palma did it. I have no memory of Carrie, and I pop it on, and like she's getting bullied, and then they go, and then it's like this music plays, and it turns into like this weird like softcore camera pan across a locker room, and she's like taking a luxurious shower, and then she gets her period, and it's just like, what am I watching? Like, what is happening? And then she's like, I'm bleeding, and everyone's like, ew, Carrie, ow. And it was just like, all right, if this was what life was like in the 70s, I cannot relate to this in any way. Like, people would be helping this poor girl, like, and why are we having like a weird softcore shower scene at the start of this horror movie? I can't with Carrie. So I know it was a popular movie, and I'm sorry if you're a big Carrie fan out there. Maybe the remake was better. I can't do this.
There's a couple of remakes. None of them are better.
Brody, what have you been watching?
Yeah.
I've been watching Agatha All Along on Disney Plus.
How is this?
It's all right. It's interesting. It's still only like a couple episodes in.
People don't know, but that's like Brody. That's just Brody might as well have just said it sucked.
No, it doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. It's interesting.
He did his best not to go high pitched.
It seems like
he's working on it.
They like in WandaVision, they had the song Agatha All Along, and they were like, "Ooh, people really like her singing or music around her or something," because there's a lot of music in this series, and some of it I'm like, I mean, like it's catchy, but I'm not sure why, so it's interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes and how this kind of fits into the rest of the MCU as we're going forward. What else? Gosh, I just watched something the other day. So with my shoulder surgery, I am off work for 6 weeks. So I am probably going to be watching a lot of movies and seeing what I can kind of catch up on or kind of binge on, and so that'll be interesting. Charlie, you're freaking me out with the way you're looking like that. Just you're like not blinking, and it scares me a little bit.
Sorry.
But
You gotta watch Final Girls, bro, and you gotta watch Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day I do want to watch.
I would like to hear what you think of that.
And I would like to see that.
You love Thomas Middleditch. You gotta watch Final Girls. I'm telling you. I want people to see it. I want there to be a sequel. It's set up for a sequel.
Yeah,
it's too long ago. It's not going to happen. It didn't make enough money. Final Girls. I want there to be a Final Girls sequel. I'd love for there to be a third Happy Death Day as well. So people, help me out here. Let's pump those streaming numbers up. Let's get some sequels made.
We did watch Inside Out 2 because that came out.
Oh, that's a scary movie.
Not as good as the first one. Not as good as the first one. Oh.
My 5-year-old loves the Inside Out movies. He wants to be Joy for Halloween. He just loves them. And it's so cute because he'll hear now the adults say the word anxious, and he associates it with the fast skating. So he's like, anxious, I'm anxious, and he just, look how fast I am. And he runs in a circle because we have this kind of like interconnecting rooms, and he just runs around. He's like, look at me. And he's like, woo. So it's cute.
That's great.
I just watched The Dark Knight with two of my kids had never seen it before, and they were just on fall break. So, well, my older two had seen it. My younger two had not.
Fall break?
Yeah, they're on fall break. They get a week off, and so we watched because I'm just kind of sitting around. I was like, let's watch The Dark Knight, and so yeah, so that was fun. It was fun, man. That movie's really good. It's still really good. Still holds up. Still love it. It's great.
Nice.
I'm almost like apologetics with it because there's some things where I'm like, oh, this is that scene where people complain about it, and I'm like, they're like, how would Batman survive falling out of that building with Rachel and landing on the car? And I'm like, he did kind of get his cape up some to slow him down. It's just like
he should have landed. He should have used her to break his fall. He's fine, and he's fine.
I'm such an apologist for that movie.
Yeah, you are.
I am. But it's great. It's great. It's still great.
It is. It is very good. Hey, I'm not just an apologist. As far as I'm concerned, Batman landed on Rachel Dawes, and the world is a much better place. He went back upstairs, had a drink with the Joker. Everything's fine. I got a lozenge. That's better.
But yeah, it's great. And it's still, I watched that and I'm like, God, what would Dark Knight Rises have been like if Heath Ledger had lived? I really think that it changed something with that movie. I don't know. But so yeah, so that's what I've been watching. I'm sure there's more. I just can't remember it right now because I'm on medications. I'm in pain all the time.
Horror movie, bro. You gotta watch a horror movie.
Agatha All Along. It's about witches.
That's not a horror movie.
She got possessed in the latest episode. Possessed
by what? Possessed by what?
Her mother, who was a ghost.
Oh no! Her mother.
It was actually kind of scary.
Not that psycho.
That was actually kind of scary. She did the full exorcist crab walk.
That was an added extra thing.
You got to watch The Conjuring, bro.
Charlie, it sounds so scary.
PG-13.
Is it
watch
PG-13?
the Friday the 13th movies.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't recommend showing it to your 13-year-old until you've seen it at least.
What's it streaming on?
My kid's seen all of The Conjuring already.
And the Dark
Amazon.
Really? It's on
Prime?
Amazon?
That's right.
I know that.
I think. Or did I watch that somewhere else? I'll check real quick.
I thought it was Netflix.
Oh, HBO has the first Conjuring, bro.
Oh, I have HBO. I mean, Max.
No, I'm not going to call it that. It's just not.
Yeah,
I know that I should. I know it's petty. It doesn't hurt anyone except for myself, but I just can't do it.
I agree.
I'm not proving any kind of masterful point. I'm not changing the world, but I just no.
You probably still call it Twitter too, don't you?
I do still call it Twitter. I cannot, in any kind of good conscience. Oh, it is on Prime too. The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2. I can't say X. I can't say. Oh, I was reading something on X. It's dumb, man. Come on,
so stupid.
You have to say X, formerly Twitter. because that's what every article says.
That is so much work. That's like I had to live through everyone making fun of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I'm not going through this whole thing again. No.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
None of this formally known as. If I have to add formally known as, it should still be known as.
What about Prince?
Yeah, well, that was like legal reasons he couldn't be Prince, but we call him Prince. We don't call him the artist formerly known as Prince anymore. He got his name back.
That's true.
That's right.
That's
Got his name back.
Prince, by the way, an incredible guitarist, very underrated, one of my favorites of all time. Fantastic, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey,
I will say,
great Batman soundtrack.
Oh, the Bat Dance is sexy. We talked about this on the last pod.
Okay.
I mentioned Bad Monkey on Apple. It is now complete. Sticks the landing, fantastic. Shrinking season 2 is coming soon too. Lots of good stuff on Apple TV.
Hey,
Give it
Charlie.
a chance.
Speaking of Apple TV,
Can't hear you. Sorry, you're cutting out.
Charlie, Dark Matter.
Cutting out a little
bit. Come on.
You're cutting out. I can't hear
The
you.
amount of
Did you
things that you tell me to watch, and I'm like, Charlie, here's one show for you. And I've watched all these shows. And I've watched all this stuff that you tell me. Dark Matter. It's on Apple TV. You rave about Apple TV. You seem to be watching everything on Apple TV but Dark Matter.
That makes sense.
Are you avoiding Dark Matter? Just watch it, Charlie.
Sometimes, Brody, and this is not an excuse, but sometimes I have the memory of a goldfish, and so we talk about Dark Matter, and I have the intention. Look, I know I have a reputation as someone who has a good memory, but there are things that I say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna watch Dark Matter, and then we end the pod, and then I sit down in front of my TV, and I'm like, all right, I got an hour here, I'm gonna watch something, and nothing about Dark Matter pops into my brain. It just doesn't pop up. It doesn't pop up. It's not there.
Charlie, I have had Apple Plus. I know that like one of the first things you see is the continue watching. I know that you watched at least one episode, so it's sitting there.
Yeah, but it's so buried now. it's like 5 shows back, man. Come on. All right, Brody, you watch The Final Girls and Happy Death Day, and I will watch.
Come on, man! I have watched so many things you've told me to watch. So
Brody,
makes sense, bro.
Dark Matter is what, like 10 1-hour episodes. You're asking me to commit 10 hours. You can commit to 2 1/2 movies.
Ooh,
you have shoulder surgery. You can't even move. You're not even here right now.
That's kind of true.
It's true.
You've got to watch these movies, bro.
I will. I'll watch.
Got the time now, bro. You got the time.
I got nothing else to do. My kids go back to school tomorrow. I'm gonna be just sitting around.
Okay. And I'm as soon as we end tonight, and I'm gonna watch Dark Matter maybe this week.
Yes, do it. All right.
As soon as we end, I'll get to it later this week.
Until next podcast, when I'm like, hey, you watched Dark
Until
Matter?
next.
Yes. I'll be like, who?
I got a month. I got a month to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been watching. So now we like to move on to something fun, and it's Halloween. We're having kind of our dress up, although my costume is kind of just falling off of me because it's hot and I only have one arm, and so this jacket, and the combination of being hot and not being on an arm, is just falling off.
You should have just been the one-armed man from The Fugitive.
Shut up. Well, I mean, I have an arm. It's just in a gigantic sling. Look at this thing.
Okay.
I say you rip the thing off, bro. You don't need it. Rip the whole arm off.
If I ripped the arm or the sling?
The arm. Rip it off. You don't need it.
It wouldn't hurt anymore. Once you get rid of the arm, problem solved.
Oh gosh.
Come on, lefty.
It hurts so bad.
There'll be no more pain, bro.
I haven't slept. I haven't slept in a long time.
That means more time to watch movies.
It's hard. It's hard. Okay. But sometimes we do mailbags, but we were like, hey, since it's kind of like a Halloween party, let's do some trivia. So Charlie.
Yeah, and if you guys get tired of my trivia questions, I can get you a mailbag question if you prefer. But
okay,
let's start with some fun trivia. All right. I don't know. Look, every piece of trivia is hard to the person who doesn't know the answer. Right. There's nothing harder than a trivia question that's been asked that you don't have the data or the experience or have seen whatever is being asked. But so I don't know how hard these are. Some of these might be way too easy. Some of them might be too hard. So I prepared several.
Piece of cake.
So we can dip our toes in.
All right, but I thought we start with Cake Labyrinth.
I thought we'd start with something fun.
Okay.
Because I watched this. I didn't mention it. I did not mention it in our what we've been watching because I was saving it for our trivia. What 2000s horror movie creates the perfect intersection between the last DC universe and the coming new DC universe?
Catwoman.
Is it Cat?
And Catwoman is not a horror movie,
Are you
nor was
sure?
it I think, in the
Sure
2000s. Was it even in the 2000s?
Yes. It was into
Oh, it wasn't in the 2000s. It was in the
2006. It was like
It was
2004. It was 2004?
2004.
Okay, so a 2000 movie that links the old DC universe.
In a clever way, not like in ways where it's not. This is the movie itself is not DC related in any way. Now I'm guessing that didn't spark anything. So let me just say, it's a movie that involves James Gunn and Zack Snyder.
James Gunn and Zack Snyder.
I'll keep giving hints as we go.
Is it Super? Is it Super? Was Zack Snyder involved with Super?
It is not Super. That is a good guess, though.
That movie was a weird one. That was
Day of the Dead? Slither?
It is not Day of the Dead.
Or Slither.
But you're on the right track.
To Slither.
But not to Slither.
Oh, not Watchmen.
It is. You're gonna just be like, why didn't you just give it to me? But it's a different movie that you're referencing here.
Who?
You.
Me? So it's not Watchmen.
It's not Watchmen.
It's a different movie that I'm referencing.
You said Day of the Dead. It is not Day of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
How is that a good?
Written by James Gunn, and it was the directorial debut of Zack Snyder, 2004, and
that was a pretty good one.
That was good. That's a good one. I actually kind of enjoyed it. And Sarah Pauli, man, she's good.
Yeah.
It's like, why isn't she more famous? She's good,
right?
But I think she's made personal choices to pursue other things in her life, and that's great.
Oh,
so good for her. But Ving Rhames was awesome in it.
Yeah.
You got Ty Burrell from Modern Family in a horror movie playing a douchebag.
A real douchebag.
A little jarring. Michael Kelly's in it. Come on, it's a good movie.
I thought you meant storyline.
I think one. How does it end? One.
I was trying not to make it too obvious, and so, because my plan was to make it less.
Okay, I get it. I gotcha. That makes sense. Nice. Oh, that's a good. That's a good.
That's fun. When I saw the because I knew Snyder directed it, but I didn't realize Gunn wrote it. His famous quote is like, people were all mad at him because they're like, why is the guy who wrote Scooby-Doo movies writing this? But pretty good. So if you haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, that is on Peacock. It's also 2004, same as Catwoman, so same year. So there's another DC connection for the DC people out there.
Yep.
All right. What is the highest grossing horror movie of all time by domestic or international box office? It is the same answer for both. The highest grossing horror movie of all time.
Brody.
The Exorcist.
Incorrect.
I chimed in first.
And this is not adjusted for inflation, so just.
Oh, not adjusted for inflation.
The Exorcist is a fantastic guess. It's fantastic.
I just figured it had been re-released so many times.
It is a great guess. I'm not going to reveal. I'll give you guys a few shots at this, and then I'll start giving you hints. But I'm not going to say too like where some of the other ones fall, because I am going to give you some trivia based on some of the other decades. So this is all time. I'll give you a couple more guesses, and I'll start giving you hints.
Okay.
So it's not adjusted for inflation, and it's both domestic and international.
Well, you could, if you ask me domestically, the answer is yes, it's the most. And if you ask me internationally, the answer is yes, it's the most. So it is reigning supreme over all of the box offices.
6 Sense?
Another fantastic guess, but no.
Thank you.
The Ring.
The Ring, another good guess.
Wait.
So we are looking for a
Something-
movie that is in the 2010s. 2010s.
2010.
2010s.
Is it a remake?
It is a remake.
Ooh.
And it's a remake, a 2010 remake. Okay, that means
Well, a remake of,
okay.
a remake of sorts. I don't want the. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I think
Yes and no.
start giving us some clues. Start giving us some clues.
All right. It is a movie that I have never seen,
We should do 20 questions.
but we have talked about it.
Dylan, you
We
versus me.
talked about it.
Who gets it first? 20 questions.
Okay. Yeah. Ask me questions.
Oh, all right. Go ahead, bro.
I gotta think of my question. I did the is it a remake? Now it's your turn.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the answer to that, Brody, is yes and no. Yes and no is the answer to that.
And no.
Yes and no. And it'll make sense when you figure out what it is.
The Mummy.
No.
That's not a horror. That's more of an action adventure.
It has a mummy.
This is definitely a horror movie. There will be no debating of whether or not it is a horror movie.
Oh, is it rated R?
It is rated R.
It is rated R.
It is rated R. With a runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, it's a long one. Oh my God.
The movie is set in the 1980s. But obviously it was filmed in the 2010s.
Was it the prequel to The Thing?
No. It is not based, like it's not a remake
Did not
of
do
a
well
movie.
in theaters. Yeah,
But
of
it
course,
is-
the thing
but
was
It is
a
a
remake.
remake of a remake. So
But-
this
but
movie
you
was
say-
not it's not a remake of a movie, but it is a remake of something that appeared on screens as well as something that did not appear on screens.
It's a remake more of the book, is what you're saying, as
There's a
opposed
book.
to
There was a book, and then that book turned into a different thing, and then that different thing turned into this movie. This movie does have a sequel.
What?
Wow.
Was it the
It's
sequel
gruesome
to The
horror.
Shining?
That's Dr. Sleep. That came out
Dr. Sleep?
more in the 220s. That was like,
Was
yeah,
it?
that's Dr. Sleep. I think, yes, it was called Dr. Sleep, and it came out. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
In the 20s? No. No,
It's
didn't
not the
come out.
sequel to The Shining.
I'll bet you it was 2020. That's when the Dr. Sleep came out, or 2021 maybe. Wait, was it? Now the thing was
2010s,
one, but then there was
2010s.
also Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but that was 1970s.
No, it takes place
It
in
is-
the 80s.
It takes
I know,
place in
I know,
the
I know.
80s. You want an actor?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can give you one that you'll know without giving it away.
That's fine.
So I'll start with someone named Pip Dwyer.
Oh, come on.
Owen Teague. Jack Dylan Grazer.
What? Okay, so it
Chosen
has a big-
Jacobs.
A big cast. Oh, and the people that are watching this are probably screaming at us.
Sophia Lillis. No, it's a kind of. I mean, if people have seen it, they've seen it.
But it's the highest
It
grossing
is
horror
grossing.
movie.
All right, let's just cut to the chase here. It is a
What about-
Stephen King novel.
It.
Oh, it.
It. Yeah.
Aha.
That's right. You got it, bro.
It
You
is-
got it.
It is not remotely close
Mm.
in terms of box office. This is like a juggernaut. Over like
Is it really?
worldwide, over 200,000 more than the next closest. It is. I was surprised when I looked this up.
Interesting.
How did I not see that or think of that one?
Yeah,
That's
no,
just
it
sad.
makes sense. It makes sense. There's a book. There was a sequel to it. I watched that. I watched that and the
You
sequel.
did?
Yeah.
Really?
So hey, screw you telling me I never watch horror movies. I
I
watched
didn't
that
say-
movie.
I didn't say you hadn't watched this one. I haven't watched this one.
Oh,
I haven't either.
Brody likes to see bad things happen to kids in movies.
True.
I'm just,
I cannot do it, bro. If something happens to a kid, it gets me
whatever.
upset. I started.
No,
They're
they're strong.
I read
kids
The
and
Shining.
They fight back. They fight back. Oh, I was so close.
Okay,
with The
bro.
Shining.
The very first scene, this cute little kid, this little 5-year-old, gets killed. And I remember, I read The Shining, and I thought it was such a good book. I was like, oh, I'll read it too. That seems good. The very first scene, I launched that book across the room. I was like, you're going to mess with Georgie, you're going to mess with me, bro.
You don't even see what happens, I think.
Have you seen it? Are you kidding me? Because even I know you see what happens. He bites his arm off. The kid crawls away, and he gets pulled back. What are you talking about?
He gets pulled back. It's okay. It's not like you see him get his head bit off.
I was listening on YouTube. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, no, I was going to give you another trivia question. Okay, next trivia question. In order, from most to least, can you rank for me the 1970s top 5 highest grossing horror movies? Now, I will give you the 5 names, but I will give them to you not in the correct order. You will be putting them in the correct order.
Alien.
So there is... Well, Brody, look at you. You've guessed 2 out of the 5. You want to try to guess the other 5? Do you guys want to just guess the 5 highest grossing 1970s horror movies?
Day of the Dead.
Invasion.
I'll give you Amityville Horror because I don't think you're going to get that one. That's one of the top 5.
Amityville.
What about Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland?
No, the other 2, like they're horror by name. But I'll just Jaws and Jaws 2. So
and Jaws
3,
Jaws 2.
Both in the 70s, top 5. So Amityville, Jaws 2, Alien, and Exorcist. Highest to lowest. You guys can work together cooperatively, or you guys can do your own.
In terms of making money?
Yep.
Just
and this, let's just go, we'll go domestic.
Initial release or including re-releases?
I do not have that information in front of me.
So this is just
bro, either Jaws or The Exorcist is going to be number 1.
It says cumulative domestic box office. So I assume all
so
re-releases
are
aren't
re-releases. So Exorcist is probably going to be number 1. Would be my guess.
Okay, Jaws has got to be a close second.
Jaws would be a close second, if not number 1.
Yeah.
And then I would say Alien.
Mm.
It was successful,
I suppose.
And then
it was.
And
that's
then
one
probably,
of them.
Then probably Jaws 2, and then Amityville would be my guess.
That sounds right. That actually sounds right to me.
Okay, so coming in at number 1 with a domestic box office of 272,965,550, Jaws.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
I said number 2, if not number 1.
And close behind it is The Exorcist at 230,000. This is number 2 and number 3 all-time horror box office.
Okay.
But the next one, Jaws 2, down at 102,000.
Oh.
And then underneath that, we have More Than Alien. And also More Than Alien was the Amityville Horror, which was at 86.
Whoa.
All the way down in 5th place.
Was
Poor little Alien. 65.
That's wild.
Hey, Ridley Scott's been slipping, bro. He's been slipping.
What am I doing here? Sorry.
Bro, Ridley Scott has been slipping even back then.
But that's the most successful franchise out of that entire list.
I will not debate that. I feel like that's probably financially. That's probably
you know what with Amityville. What we had the remake with Ryan Reynolds in the 2000s. That was not great.
Jaws, bro. There have been a lot of Amityville sequels. There's a bunch of Amityville sequels. There's probably like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah, and
nobody said successful.
Can you name?
No. I can't name any of them. I was shocked that they were even there.
Yeah,
Amityville 2, Amityville 3, nailing it.
Yeah,
I'm really nailing it. This is great. Do you guys want some more, or are you guys?
One more. Give us one more. Give us one more.
Give us a hard one.
All right.
This time.
Hard one. Don't do that.
All right. I'm gonna read to you a list of actors.
Okay.
Who made their major motion picture debut in a horror film.
Kevin Bacon.
And you are going to tell me what horror film they made their debut in.
Friday the 13th.
And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's totally fine.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with some easy. Let's start with some easy ones.
Oh, my shoulder hurts.
Johnny Depp.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Very good.
We're working together on this, Brode.
Oh,
but
we
I won.
are? Okay. Sorry, I thought I was against you. I thought
It's
you were
okay.
my-
I still
thought
won.
You were my enemy. I passed out.
That's okay because it's fine because I still won.
All right, Brody, this one's for you. Jennifer Aniston.
Leprechaun.
Yeah.
There you go. Patricia Arquette.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Lost Highway.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Let's get to some harder ones here. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Critters 4. Critters 4.
Angela Bassett was in Critters 4,
The life of,
but not her
of
first
Gilbert
role.
Grape.
Leonardo DiCaprio was in Critters 3. Very good. Very good. I'm
Gilbert
impressed.
Grape.
You guys are doing great. Let's say Seth Rogen.
Wait. What was Critters? The Critters 3 was the
And
answer.
this is a friendly massaging of the horror genre. If we're including Mr. Rogen.
Okay, wait. So say
You
it
guys
again.
might not think it's a horror movie, but
Seth
that's
Rogen?
okay.
Oh.
I'm not sure I think it's a horror movie,
No,
but certainly it's a dark movie.
he was a cameraman.
You could
He was a
tell me
cameraman.
that it's a psychological thriller, more psychological drama with Dylan, and he was in it with Dylan's favorite all-time actor.
Nathan
That
Fillion.
And that is dripping with sarcasm. Oh, by the way, Nathan Fillion, fun fact, auditioned for and did not make it into Dawn of the Dead. And I'm not saying that's why Dylan hates Zack Snyder, but I'm also not saying that that's not why he hates Zack Snyder.
Well, just when I think that there's not another reason out there, Charlie gives me another reason to
The
hate
universe
Zack Snyder.
provides.
Yep. And if not the universe, at least Charlie does.
No, okay. Let's just say the lead actor likes to scream.
Oh, no. Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Very good.
Yeah. Lead actor is freaking Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
Always
that's where that
grabbing
was
the
going.
camera and or grabbing somebody's face and screaming into it.
That's what you meant. by
right,
that. I thought you meant to actually scream.
Oh yeah. No, I used the word on purpose with a little twist there. Charlize Theron.
Resident Evil.
Oh, she was in Children of the Corn. Children of the Corn? 4, 5, 2.
So
3?
she might have been, but that is not the movie we are looking for.
Mighty Joe Young.
Jeez.
Let me just say the answer is it is the one that Dylan said. I'm sorry, I was looking at a different one. Children of the Corn 3. You're right.
Hey!
Was she a child in the
I am.
corn?
She was an adult.
She was an adult in the corn. Maybe.
She was also in Mighty Joe Young.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that does sound like a terrifying horror movie.
I thought that was
It's
Jessica
about
Lange,
it's about
bro.
a monkey who goes and
That was
hurts
Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges, wasn't it?
people. Also Charlize Theron. I betcha. Unless it's the meds kicking in. I don't know.
It could be the meds. All right, let's just do a couple more. Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh. You got it, bro. You got it. The meds are kicking in, huh?
I don't know.
And not to be outdone, Jason Alexander, also of Seinfeld fame, debuted in a horror film, but that one's a much harder guess. Well, they're both hard. They're both obscure.
I don't have it. Yeah.
Troll is what we're looking for. I'm not even gonna try to get you.
I would not
The
have
first
gotten
one.
that
The first one. Not the second
Yeah.
one.
That was
The second one was
Mighty
nuts.
Joe Young
That's a-
is
that's
a
a tough
family
get.
movie. Never mind.
yeah. I thought you were joking. I didn't think you thought that was.
Well, it was
Horror
Charlize
movie.
Theron though. It had a big monkey.
All right, here's a fun bit of trivia for you guys out there.
Gorilla.
Mr. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks got his debut.
Burbs.
His first feature film was in a horror film, not the Burbs.
That was like, what is it? It was like the babysitter somethings or another. It was so-
No, it's the he's the bad guy, isn't he? Doesn't he kill himself? Isn't that the one where he
Does
kills
he?
himself?
what? Are you thinking of Donnie Darko?
You're thinking of Toy Story 4.
No.
That's it. That's it.
I don't know.
Is the word babysitter in it? In the title?
No. The title is He Knows You're Alone. That's just like one of those. You gotta know it. But it is 1980s. He Knows You're Alone. A young bride to be is being stalked upon by a serial killer in Staten Island, but she gets help from a former lover. But will they manage to escape? I actually don't know the answer to that. I have not seen this. But
wait, is he the bad guy?
I have not seen it, but he plays the role of Elliot. I'm guessing not the bad guy. I don't know if Tom Hanks has ever played a bad guy. Like a true bad guy. Has he played a true bad guy? I mean,
he was pretty bad in Volunteers, like pretty bad, but so lovable in a completely sleazy way. Back in the 80s, that's what he was. He was sleazy. Like, you remember in Dragnet? He was like sleeping with people left and right.
Well, that's not evil or a bad, he's just a...
No, not at all.
He's a sex symbol. 80s Tom Hanks. He had the tight little curls and ringlets.
Yeah,
he had a very small part in the movie that was not connected to the main kind of horror element. So,
really?
Definitely not the killer. Yeah.
Okay.
You could argue even like the Road to Perdition, right? He's kind of like a bad guy, but he's also just so not a bad guy. Get mad.
Charlie,
he's playing a guy who's an assassin, and his big way of getting a revenge is bank robbery. Not oddly enough.
He's just a guy who wants to be a good dad, and he was only assassinating bad people.
Charlie,
he was like the Dexter of his generation.
I was looking at this screen over here at the Tom Hanks stuff, and I looked back and saw you and forgot that you were wearing makeup for a second, and it kind of freaked me out.
Sorry, brother. This is not the right night for you to be on such heavy medication.
You're like, Dylan just put his beard back on. What happened?
So these are so let me give you some, we'll round it out with some fun ones. These are not people who made their film debut but had small roles in a horror franchise. Nice. Paul Rudd.
Ooh, Halloween.
Clueless.
He was in Halloween 6. Halloween 6.
Yeah, very nicely done. Yeah. Brody, you made an allusion to this. So you take Kevin Bacon. Where was Kevin Bacon?
Oh,
what was he in?
13th.
Yeah, there you go.
And
arrow through the arrow through the throat.
And Tremors.
That wasn't his debut.
What about George Clooney? He was in 2 1980s horror films.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah. He was in Return to the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which I didn't see.
Oh.
I loved that as a kid. I don't know. I saw it on TV randomly as a child. It's probably a horrible movie, but I liked it.
It's because I didn't see that.
Yeah, but there was another one he was in that I did see, and he wasn't in a cartoon.
He's like in a diner talking. He's also in Return to Horror High.
That's it. Okay, I actually saw that.
Horror High.
I can't believe
people,
I saw that.
It doesn't have like high ratings, but people
no.
Renee Zellweger.
Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation with Matthew McConaughey. All right. That was really bad.
I didn't like that one.
Patrick Dempsey. Brody, this one's for you. You have no idea that he was in this movie, but it is a horror movie that you and a young Katie, our friend, not my sister, really liked. The Stuff.
Really?
He has like an uncredited role in The Stuff. It was like his second film role of all time.
Oh, The Stuff is great.
Yeah, it is great.
I wonder if it's streaming anywhere. Look it up.
Yeah, it was streaming. I saw it on streaming.
If you've never seen The Stuff, it's one of Brody's all-time favorites.
It's a great
we'll wrap the trivia here. 1980s.
Okay.
1978, I should say, introduced us to the start of what has become a long and illustrious Scream Queen career. Jamie Lee Curtis played Laurie in the first Halloween and has played that character in a lot of different incarnations of the Halloween franchise. But she also was in 3 more horror movies from 1980 to 1981. Can you guys name the 3 horror movies she was in from 1980 to 1981? Jamie Lee Curtis.
Prom Night.
Halloween.
Prom Night, yes. Halloween was in 1978.
Halloween 2.
Terror Train.
Halloween 2, yes, 1981. Terror Train, yes, good. You got all three. Good job, boys.
Yay.
So proud of you.
Hey. She wore a wig in Halloween 2 because she cut her hair short.
Really?
Yeah, well, she cut her hair short after doing Halloween 1, and they're like, come back, and she's like, my hair.
She's great. I like Jamie Lee Curtis.
She is great.
She's
yeah,
a lot of fun and talented.
So the stuff is streaming on AMC Plus. If you're
there you go.
subscribed to AMC Plus.
And if not, then here's your reason. Here's your excuse.
Yeah.
Go on.
If there's a month that you want to get on AMC Plus, it's definitely during Halloween because they have the it's the slasher. What's the name of the horror one that they do?
Friday the 13th.
No, like the network. It's AMC Plus, but it's also the horror.
Shudder?
You know what? Shudder. Yes, thank you. Gosh, I was sorry. It's like, do I really have to look this up? My brain would not let me think of the word. I shudder to think of what my brain would do. Brody, you want a mailbag or you want to wrap it?
How long are we at? We're at an hour 15. Let's take a mailbag.
Oh, wow.
Mailbag? All right, this is a very simple one written in by Zack Snyder and James Gunn together. They co-wrote a question for us. They said, do you gentlemen, in this month of October, on this Hallows Eve, prefer your zombies slow and lumbering or fast and deadly?
Slow and lumbering. Those are the best.
Yeah, give me slow and lumbering.
Well, I mean,
not fast.
Is that like how
in a movie.
I want to fight them, or in a
movie?
No.
In a movie when you're watching, like 28 Days Later, Dawn of the Dead, you want them running fast, or do you like the slow and lumbering Shaun of the Dead and the Day of the Dead and other Walking Dead?
Here's my answer to that. I think I'm going to stay with slow and lumbering because when they're slow and lumbering, they are more likely to like be in large groups, which I think is scary.
Oh yeah.
If they're sprinting and running super fast, you're kind of getting like a couple at a time. But when you look out and you see like 100 slow and lumbering ones, I think it's way cooler.
Have you seen World War Z?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
Because they were looking out and they were seeing a lot of fast movers.
Oh, really? I've never seen that.
It was like piles of them climbing on each other to climb over walls. It does feel a little unfair when you're watching.
Yeah, like when it's fast, especially with like, I mean, it was terrifying in 28 Days Later, but like World War Z, for me, it was just kind of like, all right, well, I mean, you're just dead. There's like, they're swarming all over you, and that's it. That just kind of took away some of the suspense. But yeah, I agree with Bro. It's slow and lumbering.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I land. I like that there are other versions that exist.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fun to explore. But it does feel a little bit like when you're watching a movie and it feels impossible that anyone could survive. And then either that becomes true, like World War Z, and everyone's just going to die. Spoiler alert. Or someone survives somehow, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I do think it's like a little bit more interesting to tell apocalyptic stories under the backdrop of like something that you wouldn't be likely to survive, but that there's at least a believable way to say. Also, It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that like suddenly, like if I died, me right now at my age, that suddenly like my corpse could run like at 3 times the speed that I could run. I mean, at the very least, I feel like my corpse should just be maximizing whatever athletic ability I have. Like we do not need to see Granny running at 30 miles per hour, chasing down a car like she's a cheetah. She's a dead old lady. What is inside of her that has given her this power? But if we could bottle that, if you could find out what's in the zombie virus that allows Granny to run that fast, and then we could take away the zombification. Now we got ourselves an entrepreneurial idea. Zombification without the zombie.
Now you're talking.
There you go. All right. Well, this is
happy Halloween.
This has been a fun one. We don't normally go this long, but it's Halloween. We're having fun. It's our little party.
We're just going to split into 3 parts. What? Don't mind me.
What?
I'm going to split into 3 parts?
So you do admit that, Dylan? You got it on your ear that you heard him admit that?
I heard him admit it. Makes sense.
I don't even understand what I just said. Is it going to be like like the thing where I split open into 3 parts, or it's going to be 3 Brodies? What are you talking
Oh,
about?
bro.
What is happening?
3 Brodies.
The
I was
answer-
saying that you're going to split the episode because it was long and in multiple parts.
Oh,
But
I
but
thought
if you
meant
want to
me.
split yourself into, you can send a Brody to Dylan and a Brody to me, and then you could leave a Brody with your family.
I
And
thought
now
you were
we're
talking
freaking
about
talking.
I was going to split.
Now
into
you're
3
really
parts.
talking.
Multiplicity,
golly.
baby. Send me
We
my
gotta
very
wrap
own
this
Brody.
up.
It's all I want.
Oh man. Okay. Apparently I need to go to bed or something. Okay. let's-
You definitely do not need to be operating any heavy machinery. So that's
luckily I just
You
have
watching a movie,
Stream
bro?
Deck. I have a Stream Deck and I just push a button. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's wrap this up, Charlie.
Well, if you have chosen to spend this Halloween with us and this time with us, we just want to thank you. It's so much fun getting to do these, and so much fun getting to do these with these wonderful gentlemen, and so much fun getting to do these for you guys because you guys are awesome. Let us know what your favorite all-time horror movies are. Give us some recommendations. And maybe you love the Poohverse. Let us know. Are you excited about the Twisted Children? Or are you a little leery and sketchy of the Twisted Children? Give us your feedback. We love hearing from you. I haven't said GIF. We love you, Rob. We'll see you next time.
I'm in so much pain.